business trip.
Did the people move around?
It does tingle a little bit. So apparently we're canceling something. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Matt with the DPI podcast. I've got Peter from Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel with us tonight, and it is top 3 time. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. If you haven't been here, what we're going to do is we are going to select a category out of this box of chips. We're going to have 30 seconds to figure out our top 3 or our bottom 3 of that category, and you get to enjoy all of our answers and missteps, and when we have like top 6 and all that as well. If you haven't done so already, hit that like and subscribe button. We are really close to 400 subscribers over on the YouTube channel. Would love to get there, and we need your help, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So tonight's category, let's see what we got in here. And like I said, it is going to be number 20 tonight. 20.
I want to get to the topics that guy submitted to us.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. That was awesome. My camera just went out for some reason. So I'm going to change it while we talk about dining reservation tips.
Top 3 dining
reservation tips. You've got 20 seconds or so.
Thinking about taking a trip to Disneyland, Disney World, maybe a Disney cruise, or one of the other amazing Disney destinations? Contact me at Princess of the Mouse, and I'd love to work with you on your itinerary to the most magical places in the world.
You can contact Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel on Facebook at PATM Disney Travel. Dining reservation tips. Top 3 dining reservation tips. Okay, I'll go ahead and start.
Whatever. I'll make stuff up.
I know you will. Yeah. I will as well, because I'm going to make this first one's kind of a good one, but it's not a super important one. But my number 3 dining reservation tip is going to be eat at odd hours. We tend to find really good dining reservations like an hour after park open, so in that 9 to 10 o'clock window for breakfast, and then right at the switch over from lunch to dinner, so between 3 and 4:30, we always can find reservations to a lot of places at those changeover times, which makes it really handy. You know, if you don't want to spend the dinner price at a restaurant and you want to get a pretty good meal, you can go right at the end of lunch and get most of the same items at a lower price at most restaurants. And then with the breakfast, you know, most people are trying to get to the parks and rope drop and get as much done as possible. If you just kind of hang back and just, you know, have a lazy morning, get a breakfast reservation somewhere, especially some of those places around the parks. You know, that Steakhouse 71, Grand Floridian Cafe, Trattoria. There's a lot of good times that you can eat at those places after park opens. So my number 3 dining reservation tip is going to be eat at some different hours for your meals.
Yeah, and you actually probably touched on 2 tips, because when you started talking, I was going to double down and I was going to make my number 3 like eat towards the end of that lunch window, especially on those character meals and prefix menus, because you typically find them cheaper. So I don't know if I can consider that my number 3, but you kind of like grabbed it a little, you know, and I'm going to make that my number 3 because okay. You made your number 3 about eating at kind of funky times, but my number 3 is going to be specifically looking for menus where in the lunchtime you have like a $40 prefix menu, and at dinner time it jumps to like 60. A lot of the character meals are that way. And even I'll even double down on this. A lot of character meals, the breakfast is significantly cheaper than the lunch dinner, but breakfast doesn't have to be 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Breakfast can be as late as like 11, 11:30 at many
Yeah.
of these places. So if you kind of just wake up and go do a few things and maybe just snack on some fruit or a granola bar or whatever else, and then you go have that big filling buffet character meal towards like late 11 o'clock ish. Well, now you've also taken care of lunch, and now you're not going to be hungry again until like 4 or 5 in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
And so, kind of doubling down on Matt's and tying it in, my number 3 is going to be pay attention to your prices and book around that a little bit. Because again, all character meals, their breakfast is cheaper than their lunch dinner. And many prefix menus, their lunch is cheaper than their dinner. I'm thinking specifically of Space 220. Space 220 is 55 or 59, something like that for lunch. And dinner, it's like 79 or 69 or something like that. Like the jump is huge. And the reason is because in lunch, I just get an appetizer and an entree. And at dinner, I get an appetizer, an entree, and a dessert. And so going at like 3:30 lets me get the full experience, but not pay the almost $80 price tag for, and that's before I even order a drink, like, now granted, soft drinks are included, but if I want a drink, I'm going to be adding on 15, 18 extra dollars, on top of that prefix. So not only go during off times, because you can likely find reservations that otherwise you wouldn't during those peak times, but also pay attention to your pricing and aim for those later times where, like, I can go to Akershus for $20 less if I have a breakfast menu instead of a lunch menu, or Jeff Mickey, or just around. There's a whole bunch of different places where that applies to. Garden Grill, so maybe aim for some late breakfasts that kind of fill you up and give you that cheaper price point. I'm going to go ahead and make that my number 3 because I had a different number 3, so now that can be my number 2.
There you go. Well, let's go ahead. I'm going to get my number 2. My number 2 is going to be utilize buffet breakfasts. I am a big proponent of, if you're going to use that character meal, you want to do that character meal and it's a buffet, utilize the buffet breakfast as that character meal. And it's twofold on this one. Number one, you have the ability that you can get into the park a little earlier. If you catch one of those super early reservations, we've been able to get into like Magic Kingdom at 8:05 or 7:55 for an 8 o'clock reservation, when the extra magic hour people aren't getting in till 8:30 and that kind of stuff. So you can actually take pictures and stuff up and down Main Street without a ton of people there and that kind of stuff. The other thing is it gives you a big filling breakfast in the coolest part of the day. When you think about these buffet meals in the afternoon and at night, it is almost like that's the knockout blow for your day. You've been hot most of the day. You're going to go have this huge meal that you're probably not going to get your money's worth out of. And then you're just going to be heavy when you get out of that meal to try and trudge through the park a little bit more. So breakfast makes more sense to have that bigger meal to start the day and just kind of get you going and get you moving through the day. So my number 2 dining reservation tip is catch those buffets in the morning and make that your first meal of the day. Peter, where are you going with your number 2?
Yeah, I really like your number 2 because a lot of times, exactly what you said. You go eat a huge filling meal at like 1 o'clock. You're coming out in the heat of the day. You're feeling bloated. You're feeling stuffed. You're feeling
our Liberty Tree.
Yeah. That's a really good tip. My number 2 is going to be know your menu. So when you go and you book your dining, make sure that you know your menus a little bit, or you utilize the assistance of a knowledgeable Disney travel agent, because as I This is not my 9 to 5. This is my moonlight. This is my passion. But at the same time, a travel agent who is merely a travel agent and that is their livelihood does not know the ins and outs. So they just know, oh, these are like the best restaurants. Well, if you do the best restaurants, then you might find yourself eating at Tony's Town Square, followed by Mama Melrose, followed by Trattoria. Right? Like, or Via Napoli, right?
Yeah.
Like, because all three of those are very highly regarded restaurants in their applicable parks. Like, Tony's Town Square, if you're not going to Cinderella's Royal Table, I don't know how much Be Our Guest is actually worth it. I think a whole menu overhaul needs to be done inside of that place. But that's for a completely different topic and story. Like, if you're not going to Skipper Canteen, you're probably going to Tony's Town Square. Well, they've got really fantastic Italian food. And then if you go over and you don't get... Why is there a big old thumbs up?
I can react on your screen, I guess.
I'm so confused. And then if you go over to Hollywood Studios, well, again, Mama Melrose is going to show up in the top 3 things. And then as you work your way around World Showcase, there's tons and tons of options. But as Matt talked about, Tutto Italia is delicious. Via Napoli is a fantastic restaurant. Italy has 2 great restaurants. If you don't know your menu, you might sit there going, oh, dear God, I'm having chicken parmesan for the 3rd time this week. Or like, I'm having noodles with some type of a protein know your menus, make sure that you're diversifying your plan, make sure that you've got like that burger place, that steak place, that pasta place. Make sure that you've got like a blend of different dining experiences that you are going to go and take on. Even in the buffets, if you pay attention to your buffets, you can have very, very different menus at the different buffets.
Yeah.
Versus just sitting there going, oh, okay, I'm gonna have the exact same 6 things for breakfast today.
Yeah, know that you're going to get something different at Beach Club or Tusker House than you would get at your normal like Chef Mickey's and your Crystal Palace and that kind of stuff. Right. So yeah, knowing your menus is a huge thing. Absolutely huge. That's a great one. All right, let's get into our number ones. Before I give you my number one, definitely let us know what your top 3 dining reservation tips are, either in the chat or in the comments below. Also, if you have an idea for a top 3, go over to the website. It's down below us right now, patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning. There is a text box there up in the upper right-hand corner that you can submit your ideas for our next top 3. My number one, I thought it could be common sense, but when we did our first trip, it wasn't, and it really didn't make sense until we did it.
Hey, if you think it's common sense, that means that it's the most important tip about dining for people that haven't thought of it.
Don't park hop for dining reservations. If the only reason that you're going to another park is because you made a reservation over there because you didn't know how far the parks were away from each other, that's terrible planning. You waste so much time going from park to park, and you lose so much time on your day if you're just doing it for dining reservations. It goes back to what you were saying about don't just look at how good the restaurants are, because a lot of the restaurants are going to get rated really, really well because there's a lot of good food down there. Actually know where your restaurants are in relation to what you're doing that day. Now, if you're park hopping from Magic Kingdom to Epcot because you're going over to Epcot to ride Guardians and do stuff at night or, that kind of stuff, great. Set up your dining reservations like that. But if it doesn't fit in your plan, don't just park hop for a dining reservation. Know kind of where you are in the layout of the park. That way you don't waste a bunch of time getting to and from that reservation. So that is my number one. Peter, before you give your number one, where can people find you?
Hey, find me over on Facebook. I would love to talk to you. As I said, this is a very busy month for me getting my dining and stuff for all of my clients. I have one tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I gotta book it all up. But looking at my spring break, Not many. I would love to get a few more things rolling with spring break, help you get your vacation planned, help you with all of these dining tips that Matt and I are talking about. A season hand on the booking day. You know, like when I go in, I don't just start at day one. I have a list of priorities that I go, okay, I know I need to go get this, then I need to go get that. Once those things are secured and in hand, now I can go back to day one and start filling in. That's the way I do it. I say, hey, I know I need that on day four. Hey, I know I need that on day two. And then I go back to day one and start back filling in the whole vacation. Um, and I could make that my number one tip, but chances are, um, I mean, you should know that 60 days out is when you book. So I'm not going to make that my number one tip. You should know your order of priority. You should have an understanding of what books up quicker than other things. So you should have a booking priority. I'm trying to focus on my dining tips once I know all those things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like all of the knowing what books up first and knowing what to hit on my 60 days out at 6 a.m. like Eastern Standard Time. That's all off to the side. So kind of piggybacking on Matt, but then this is not my number one, but just to fill in, one of the things that I like to do with my dining reservations is book it around that like 2 o'clock time period. Matt and I were talking about the reason why you don't want to have a super filling meal, but if you're just having like a sit down reservation, what's great about like a 2-ish p.m. one is typically in Florida, when rain comes, it happens between 2 and 5. And so if you have a dining reservation, the number of times that I've checked in for a dining reservation right as the first thunderclap happens is uncanny. And then we literally sit there and enjoy our meal as a downpour happens. And as we finish our meal, the sun comes back out.
Yeah.
But then on the whole park hopping thing, I like sitting down early afternoon because then we can sit there and say, hey, we've got park hopper tickets. Are we staying here or are we jumping somewhere else? Where do we want to jump? Kind of to Matt's point, if you're park hopping, don't make those late dinner reservations that forces your hand for park hopping. The whole benefit of park hopping is start in a park and then flexibility, decide what you want to do with your evening.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just kind of filling in, well-rounding my support of Matt's number one for you. My number one is actually not going to be about reservations because this topic was not top 3 dining tips. My top dining tip is actually going to come into the quick service realm. Okay. So first of all, in that, there's kind of 2 side-by-side tips. When you are quick servicing, make sure to use your app. You can order food on the app. With the new dining plan coming back, they are supposed to be integrating the ability to use a dining credit for the quick service mobile order on your app. It makes the process of ordering food at a quick service restaurant so much nicer. Now, if you are the type of person that I want to see the menu, I want to pick from the menu, and I want to just hand cash or a card to a person, then absolutely go up to the booth with the cast member. But the whole menu is on the app. Everything is on the app. The checkout system is super simple. And then all you got to do is click, I'm here, prepare my food. And then you get a push button back that says, go to this number window, and you'll get your tray of food. So number one tip is on the quick service ordering, do it through the app. The number of mornings that I sit in my room and I go, hey, what do we want for breakfast? Click, 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 order, post. And then as we leave our room and start walking, I click, I'm here. And then as we're walking into the quick service of our hotel, our tray's ready to pick up, versus heading into the quick service area and waiting for my food to get ready. And it is just fantastic. It just kind of expedites your day. Yeah. But then on top of that, my kind of side tip with that mobile ordering is pay attention. Like if you know that you want to eat at 1 o'clock, order it at 11.
Yeah.
Right. Like, don't sit there until 12:50 and be like, oh, okay, hey, let's go ahead and eat now. Because where you want to eat is not going to be available until probably an hour from now. or you're going to have to go stand in that long line waiting for the cashier to then get food right now, which is then going to end up being 30 minutes from now.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Like the mobile ordering system on some of the higher demand quick service restaurants will pre-book half hour to an hour in advance where you can't get your first window for a solid hour. So plan ahead and say, hey, we know we're quick servicing. We know we want a quick service at this place. Order it in the morning. Like while I'm on the bus or I'm on the Skyliner or I'm on a boat or whatever, I'm on the monorail. Like there are many mornings where I'll say, hey, let's do lunch at Casey's. Let's go ahead and place a mobile order for noon at Casey's. You guys want corn dogs? Hey, I want a foot long. Like boom, 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 book it out, pay for it. And then now all I got to do is at noon say, I'm here, prepare my order.
Yeah.
I don't have to sit there and go, crap, Casey's is busy today. I can't get in until
Really
1:30.
wanted a hot dog.
Yeah, I can't get in until 1:30. No, I saw this thing earlier today where Skipper Canteen was the best. So it was like the best things. Skipper Canteen was the best. And then for quick service, Pecos Bill was the best quick service. And then honorable mention was Casey's Corner. Because Casey's Corner is just, man, it's good. This is just something about that super used frying oil that just, man, it keeps washing them organs right up. No, yeah, my number one tip goes to the quick service. Make sure that you understand how to approach quick service, or you will find yourself frustrated in long lines or not able to dine at the times that you want.
There you go. That's our top 3 dining reservation tips and a dining quick service tip at the end from Peter for this week. If you enjoyed it, hit that like and subscribe button. If you didn't, we'll see you again next week because you just hate watching us anyway. So we plan on you being back.
God, I hated this show. I'm going to show up next week, see what they talk about. See how I hate it again.
Hey, thanks for checking us out today. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons to help out the channel. Also, if you're looking for some more Disney content, check this out. I think you're going to like it.